The researchers found that increases in both daily death rates and COVID cases and deaths slowed significantly within 20 days of putting mask mandates into place, and protective effect of the mask mandates grew stronger over time.
As Texas and 5 other states roll back their mask mandates, a new study from the CDC shows that masks lead to fewer COVID infections and deaths. That's why local leaders are at odds with the Texas governor. They want to keep a mask mandate.
Eyewitness News reporter Henry Ramos asked local officials about any possible loopholes that could make masks still required in Bexar County.
It's pretty tight. Not a lot of wiggle room.
Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf is referring to Governor Greg Abbott's order, which will lift the Texas mask mandate come Wednesday.
We're going to try.
City and county attorneys are exploring legal loopholes in the governor's order.
There's one Houdini in the state with regard to the governor's orders, and that's Judge Wolf.
In the governor's order, if COVID hospitalizations get above 15% for 7 straight days, well, Judge Wolf could use mitigation strategies, but could not enforce penalties for people not wearing masks. And with the statewide mask mandate ending, it is up to businesses to decide whether they want to require them.
The business community might save us.
Local leaders applaud business owners who are already pledging to keep requiring masks.
We are still going to follow the CDC and the WHO guidelines.
One of those businesses is Sancho's Cantina. The San Antonio favorite will still make masks mandatory. It is also not going to operate at 100% capacity, despite the governor giving the green light.
It's for the safety of our staff and for our customers.
The mayor says during this pandemic, local businesses have been bending over backwards.
And they've had to deal with the not just annoyance, but incredible hardship as a result of these mixed messages and the changing orders.
Henry joins us live downtown. Henry, business owners who choose to require masks are concerned they may get pushback from customers. Will law enforcement step in to help?
Yes, they can, Deborah. Here's an example. Tonight, Judge Wolf says the sheriff cannot force someone to wear a mask, but says if that person is not complying, then the sheriff can step in and remove that person from a business because of trespassing. Now, in terms of those legal loopholes, the mayor and the judge, they plan to meet with city and county attorneys on Monday. We're live downtown tonight. Henry Ramos, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.